Welcome back to our channel. We are Levi and Victoria. We are photographers and entrepreneurs, and we make videos about our everyday life as well as the different adventures that we go on.
There's so many different places to pick from to go in Europe, and today we're going to be highlighting Dubrovnik, which is a city in Croatia.
We're going to be talking about the pros, the cons, as well as some different activities that you can do while you're there.
To start off, Dubrovnik is really for someone with time, money, spirit, adventure in their blood, because there is a lot you can do here. There's a lot you can go explore. There's so many different areas you can head out to. So Dubrovnik as a city is really cool, but I think Croatia in general would also be incredible if you can spend some good time there.
Yeah, we spent 3 days in Dubrovnik, and by the end we were wishing that we had spent maybe like 4 or 5, even
I could almost do 2 weeks there, I think.
2 weeks. I feel like I could do 1 week there. It was like the 3 days was not enough. When we left, we were like, oh, sad.
So let's get into the pros and cons.
Okay, so the first thing that we will start with is the cons, because, start with the bad, end with the good.
Totally.
So the first thing that we immediately noticed within I feel like 24 hours of being there was that the food was kind of underwhelming.
Yeah.
And then we were like, oh, maybe it was just we got some bad places, but everywhere we ate, I feel like nothing was too impressive. Or how would you describe it?
I think I would describe the food situation as either you're looking at spending a lot of money, so like a higher end restaurant, which we weren't necessarily wanting to do every night. When it comes to the medium type restaurants that are not too expensive, but also not just like street food, there wasn't actually a whole lot of options.
No.
We would be looking on Google Maps, trying to kind of find different spots. Maybe there's some local spots we missed out on, but really when you're looking at those options, there wasn't a ton of them, and a lot of them weren't actually amazing.
No, and even when we did go out to a restaurant, and there was a couple times where we're like, okay, we'll commit and spend a little bit more money to go to a more expensive restaurant. The food still it wasn't like, oh, okay, now we've paid a little bit more and it's really good. It still was pretty small and underwhelming.
Yeah, a little bit average.
Yeah. Anyway, so if you have been to Dubrovnik and you have some good places to go, leave them in the comments so that other people can see, because we definitely did not have the best food experience there.
It's not that you can't find good food there.
Yeah.
We just struggled more so in this location.
Rather than other places that we've been in Europe.
Depending on how you're getting to Dubrovnik, parking can be tricky. We had a car there. We drove all the way down through the coast of Croatia. Once you get into Dubrovnik, it really is a smaller city, some smaller streets. Close to the old town, can be really hard to find parking. It can be expensive. Some of the newer city is better, but you're probably gonna be spending a lot more of your time downtown in the old town and checking out some of those cool streets and some of the shops.
Something to note about Dubrovnik is that it is a cruise destination. So during the day at about, I think 10 a.m., the cruise ships will arrive, and the whole old town area gets flooded with tourists. So it's definitely quite a busy city. Obviously, those cruise ship people aren't coming into the whole entire city, but definitely in the main areas, it can be very, very touristy and very busy. So that is something to note if you are someone who maybe doesn't like the big crowds and tours and all that kind of stuff. Either you need to get up in the morning or just avoid that area during the busier times of day. Yeah.
Obviously in Europe, there's lots of old things, chapels, cathedrals, all these different stuff, which makes it not really mobility accessible.
Cobblestones, stairs.
Yeah. We really found that Dubrovnik is not accessible. Just if you have any problems walking or getting around, there's so many hills, a lot of cobblestone, a lot of steps, tight streets. So that's just one thing to be aware of if you're going to be going to Dubrovnik.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about some of the pros, and then we will end with recommendations. One of the main things that we loved about Dubrovnik was that there were so many different activities to do. Some of those were down in the old city, like history stuff, and then also outdoors, relaxing. So I felt like there was a really good contrast of fun, good things to do.
Dubrovnik has a really nice tropical feel to it, but also a very European feel to it. So it was almost this amazing blend of feeling like you're in this tropical city with palm trees, with white buildings everywhere, amazing coast.
Blue ocean.
Yeah, But then everything else was also European as far as like architecture, the history, the cafes, all those sorts of things that you would generally find a lot of in sort of Central Europe. You're going to find a lot of it also in Dubrovnik. So it's a great tropical European sort of mix.
Overall, Dubrovnik is quite a condensed city, so you can kind of get from one side of the city to the other in a decent amount of time. I think it took us like 15 minutes maybe to drive across kind of the whole city. So that's nice in terms of if you are renting a car or a scooter or even walking, it is pretty condensed and you can kind of get from one place to the other fairly easily.
Dubrovnik's pretty cool and unique because it has a newer looking sort of resort area.
Yeah.
And then you almost crest this hill and then Old Town's over there. And it's almost like these two separate ports. So you can kind of check out the newer area. At night, there's a lot of nightlife there.
Yeah.
And then you can kind of go to the old side on the other side of the hill into the old town. Dubrovnik is a perfect city if you love to feel safe. So we never felt like we were unsafe there. We didn't really see any sort of like pickpocketing or things that felt sketchy. It really felt like a chill vibe, amazing, beautiful city that was safe.
Yeah. The last pro, I guess, that we have would be that most people understood English, which we're always privileged in the fact of going to places and expecting people to speak English. But
people.
It was definitely, we never had a problem with someone not being able to understand us, which is always nice when you're traveling.
Yeah. The last couple little things could either be a pro or a con, depending who you are. The first one, it's really hot and humid. Like we were there when it was kind of a heat wave coming through, so we were almost hitting 40 degrees some of the days. So maybe that's a pro or con.
Get air conditioning if you're from North America.
Get AC. We had a very nice stay.
Oh, it was the best.
We had a view of the ocean with the AC. It was perfect.
Okay, now moving on to the recommendations of different things that you can do while you're in Dubrovnik. The first one would be kayaking on the ocean. There's kayak rentals. You can either go, you can go any time of the day, but I feel like an early morning kayak would be so beautiful and nice. A good way to cool off if you're not a big swimmer.
Dubrovnik offers a lot of boat tours. You'll see them pushing them everywhere. So if you're wanting to explore some of the different islands that are surrounding Dubrovnik or see the city from the water, that could be an option, is to get onto a boat and to get into the ocean.
Or you can rent one if you're
If you have your license to pleasure, you can rent a boat.
Okay, we would definitely recommend spending one morning in the old city, and we emphasize the morning part because it is worth it. Anywhere, it is worth it to get up early and beat the crowds, but especially here because of the cruise ships, because of all the tours that come in, you really do need to get up early if you really want the full, nice experience. So we woke up at sunrise one morning and went and explored the old city, took some photos. It was really, really nice and definitely a highlight of the trip.
If you're up early, 8 a.m. is when the shops will open. You can also start your walk up and around the city walls of the old town. And it's an amazing view looking down into the old town and also out towards the port.
We would definitely recommend spending one day just exploring some of the beaches, or multiple days if you can, but being able to go and find a beach. There's some that are secluded, there's some that are busy, and you can rent umbrellas and cabanas and stuff like that. Going and finding a nice beach to relax at is definitely a must while you're in Croatia.
If you're in the adventurous mood, there are scooter rentals all around the city. You do have to have a bike license, a motorbike license that is, if you're going to get the larger engines. So if you're just getting the smaller 50cc's, you can actually rent those and drive them around the city. It's an amazing way to get to the beaches. You can get to the old town. They have scooter parking specifically, so it makes things a whole lot more accessible when you're actually there.
One thing that we should have mentioned was that Game of Thrones is filmed in Dubrovnik, or it's parts of it where I'm not sure how much, but there are Game of Thrones tours that you can do. So there's tours where you can hire someone, go on the tour with them, or you can do a self-guided tour. There's lots of different resources for that on the internet, but definitely really cool if you're into the series and want to see some of the places where it was filmed.
That's just a little recap of what we experienced in Dubrovnik. We would love to go back for probably a longer time to be able to see more, experience more. We think it's the perfect place for a group of friends to go there. Maybe you're going there on your honeymoon, whatever it might be. We highly recommend you go check out this city.
If there's anything we missed, comment below so that we can check it out the next time we go.
Yeah, see you guys later.